All right, today we're going to talk about a skill that, I'm not kidding, can completely change how safe you are on the road. And it's something most of us just never really think about. It's called proactive vehicle positioning, and it's all about taking control instead of just reacting to whatever traffic throws at you. So, let me ask you something. Just think about the last time you were driving. Were you kind of just going with the flow, just waiting for things to happen? A car cuts you off, and bam, you hit the brakes. Traffic grinds to a halt, you hit the brakes. That's just the default mode for most of us, right? And yeah, that's what we call reactive driving. You're basically just a passenger in the chaos, always playing catch up, always waiting for the next problem to solve. It's stressful, it's not very efficient, and let's be honest, it's pretty dangerous. But what if there was a better way? This is where the pros have a huge advantage. They use what's called proactive positioning. This isn't just about reacting, it's about anticipating. It's the skill of putting your car in the best, safest spot on the road so you can see trouble coming from a mile away and just avoid it completely. So how do we actually do this? Well, the very first step is building what I like to call your personal force field. Think of it as this invisible bubble, this buffer zone around your car that just keeps trouble from getting in. And the number one tool for building it is actually surprisingly simple. It all comes down to this one number, 3 seconds. Now, I know we've all heard of the 3-second rule, but it's not just some random number they came up with in driver's ed. There's real science behind why this specific amount of time is so important. But here's the really cool part, the why. When you do that count, you're not just measuring distance, you're measuring time. That 3-second gap is literally the minimum time your brain needs to see a hazard, process what it is, and then for your foot to physically move and hit the brake. It's you buying yourself time to think. And of course, that 3-second force field is just the bare minimum. When it's raining or foggy, or if you're stuck behind a massive truck that's blocking your entire view of the road, you got to expand that buffer. Pushing it to 4, 5, even 6 seconds isn't being paranoid, it's just being smart. This whole idea applies even when you're at a complete stop. Here's a super simple visual check to remember. Can you see the rear tires of the car in front of you actually touching the pavement? If you can't, if all you see is their bumper, you're way too close. That little gap you create, that's your escape route. If their car stalls where you see some danger coming up in your rearview mirror, you have room to just pull around them. No reversing needed. Okay, so we've got the space around other cars handled. Now let's take that same proactive mindset and apply it to the physical road itself. Things like curves, lanes, and hills. This is one of the single most important things to know about driving, period. The key to taking a curve safely isn't about how you steer, it's about setting your speed before you even start the turn. Hitting the brakes in a curve shoves all the car's weight forward. That completely destabilizes it and massively increases your chances of skidding. So slow down first, then turn. When you're on a multi-laned highway, where's the safest place to be? Well, a lot of the time, it's that middle lane. Think of it as the strategic sweet spot. And why is that? Well, you get to avoid all the chaos of cars merging on and off on the right, and you stay clear of the faster traffic that's usually flying by in the far left lane. It can just be a much calmer, smoother place to cruise. And speaking of highways, getting on and off are really high-risk moments. When you're entering, that acceleration lane is your best friend. Use every single foot of it to get your speed up to match traffic before you merge in. And when you're getting off, stay at highway speed until you are fully on the exit ramp, then start to slow down. Please don't be that person who slams on their brakes on the highway. Now, here's a simple but totally vital safety trick for when you have to park on a hill. The goal here is really simple. If your parking brake were to fail for some reason, you want the car to roll safely into the curb or off the road, not into moving traffic. A quick turn of the wheel makes all the difference in the world. All right, now for the final exam. Dealing with the most unpredictable thing on the road, other people. Positioning yourself safely around other drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, this is where it all comes together. You need to burn this rule into your brain, especially when you're around big trucks and buses. Their blind spots, their no zones, are absolutely huge. If you're driving in a spot where you can't see the driver's face in their mirror, they have zero idea you even exist. Don't just hang out there. Speed up a little or slow down a little, but get visible. Ugh, the tailgater. We have all been there, right? Someone is just glued to your back bumper, and your first instinct might be to get angry, to brake check them. Don't do it. Your goal is not to teach them a lesson. It's just to get them away from you.
The safest move is always to de-escalate. Gently slow down, or even better, if it's safe, just change lanes and let them go. Create that space.
And when it comes to the most vulnerable people on our roads, like cyclists and pedestrians, this number is not a suggestion. It is a lifeline. 3 to 5 feet is the minimum passing distance you have to give them. Why so much? Because a sudden gust of wind, a little pothole, an unexpected swerve from them, it can happen in a split second. That space is their safety zone, and it's 100% your responsibility to give it to them.
Okay, I have to share this because it is absolutely brilliant. It's called the Dutch reach. So instead of using the hand closest to the door to open it, reach across your body with your far hand. Try it. This simple little move forces you to turn your entire upper body, which makes you automatically check your mirror and your blind spot for any approaching cyclists. It builds a life-saving check into a simple everyday habit. It's genius. So as we start to wrap this up, everything we've talked about, the buffer zones, the lane choices, that awesome Dutch reach, it all points to one really powerful shift in your thinking. Ultimately, it all just comes down to this fundamental change in mindset. You stop being a passive victim of traffic, and you become an active strategist, constantly positioning yourself for success and safety. You start seeing collisions long before they ever have a chance to happen. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If this proactive mindset, this way of thinking about awareness and anticipation and strategic positioning, if it can have such a huge impact on your safety on the road, where else could you use it? In your career, your relationships, your finances. It's just something to think about the next time you find that perfect, safe spot in traffic.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.